Ah, the bumper. What an idea made by the great TV gods. It really gives out the impression that whatever channel you're on is their channel. You guys remember PBS Kids Go? Boy, that whistle tone will stay with you forever. Hey y'all, Dub here. And I know what you're wondering. What a niche topic to talk about today, huh? Well, excluding the fact that a soy boy recommended it to me, I've always taken pride in remembering bumpers myself. And probably at this point, one of you is saying, hey, what's a bumper? And to keep it simple, it's those little 5-second things you see on the channel before and after a show. It usually ranges from a cute little graphic followed by the network's logo. However, some channels like to take liberties and be as creative as possible in between your commercial breaks. Now, how are you gonna make a whole video over that, you ask? Well, I'm not. This is more of a reaction-based video than anything. I'm going through the overwhelming emotions of a nostalgia with you guys along the way. And don't worry, I'll throw in a couple of promos in there for a good measure. Today's network we're going to be looking at is Cartoon Network. You know, the network without the mouse ears and cum stain. One of these days I'll continue the series of arcs that Cartoon Network has been through, similar to the Seeing the Real video. But until then, let's start things off with this. Let's begin the year with 1992, the premiere of the network. It started with a countdown followed by explosions displaying the wackiness you'd come to expect for years to come. And our host Green Screen Droopy was telling us about the lineup of the network. Nothing too special here, but I've decided to include it based off the fact that someone finally uploaded it after 25 years. But a grand majority of his bumpers from 92 to 94 was just this Jester guy getting bullied by everything in sight. Promos for Toonheads, The Moxie Show, and 24-hour marathon announcements.
Before there was the Flintstones, there was the Flagstones. The Cartoon Network presents the world premiere of our favorite Stone Age family in this never-before-seen screen test. It's a page right out of cartoon history in this Cartoon Network exclusive. So meet the Flagstones, premiering Saturday on the home of the Stones, the Cartoon Network.
Wait, is that a joke? The fuck is the Flagstones?
Wilma, when are we going shopping?
As soon as I serve His Majesty's lunch.
What the fuck is this? Who the fuck are you? Huh, well I guess I just learned something today. Anyway, not much happening for the early build of the network. We did get Space Ghost though, which was the game changer in my opinion. So basically after that show showed some success, What a Cartoon came in to give other runner-ups a chance. And you guys all know the story. Dexter's Laboratory, Johnny Bravo, I Am Weasel, Cow and Chicken. Alright, let's continue. So after 5 years, Cartoon Network finally changed their bumper layout to suit the new age. Instead of boasting about having the best cartoons ever made for 24 hours a day in checker format, they went for a more self-aware approach while having the new cartoon characters talk about what their show is about.
I am Dexter, star of Dexter's Laboratory. I'm wearing this ridiculous headgear to illustrate the point that science is funny. Hi, Dexter!
Dexter's Laboratory, the new season, premiering Wednesday at 8 on Cartoon Network.
It was pretty funny, and most of the bumpers consisted of the tunes showing off while interacting with the channel's logo. This was back in 1997, which was the year I was born. They dubbed this little bumper series Starburst, and it only lasted for a whole year until the bumpers I came to know and love came in called Powerhouse broke through. And this was the peak and shift for the direction of the channel in the 90s. This was around the time that Dragon Ball Z, Animaniacs, and Powerpuff Girls started to air on the network, making the old Hanna-Barbera tunes have a run for its money. Most of the bumpers consisted of newly animated skits for all the cartoons on the network, most of which were someone gets hurt, an explosion, or any form of action engulfs the screen in the end, with the most famous phrases being, "Coming up next," and "We'll be right back." Usually a character will have a quirk said during them too, giving it a more natural feel.
It's the Powerpuff Girls, and it's a bunch of roaches. This is disgusting. Squash like a bug.
There was also a lot of live action skits as well around that time to promote certain tunes, which actually looked pretty weird.
Was your inspiration for your girls the Powerpuff Girls cartoon?
No.
In '99, the Cartoon Fridays block started to air, showcasing even more bumpers, showing the all-star tunes, singing and dancing in unison, and every one of them saying the title of the block through the logo. It was quite the time to be alive, and if you missed out on it, hopefully you was born in time to see the next iteration of the network, which I will get to in a bit. So Cartoon Network Powerhouse will go on to last for 6 years, and amongst the 6 years, we've had 2 new sister blocks come through, one being Boomerang in 2000, and the other being Adult Swim in 2001. I know that they already existed beforehand to show certain programs at a certain time frame, but here's when they started making their own content IDs. Like Adult Swim having vignettes of old people swimming.
What are you eating? What is that? Sir, what is that? No eating in the pool.
And Boomerang having a showcase of old Hanna-Barbera toys.
We now return to Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
The swimming bumpers ended in 2003 for Adult Swim, and they switched to the style that is most known today. However, Boomerang went to have a 15-year run with his bumper style before their apparent demise. I'll explain later. And let's not forget about Tsunami and his awesome presentation skills over bomb-ass beats.
Sailor Mars! Sailor Mercury! Sailor Jupiter! Sailor Venus!
You are watching Sailor Moon.
So June 2004 rolls around and I'm just chilling, staying up all night due to summer break, watching Cartoon Network through and through. This was back when it was still 24 hours. And the next thing you know, wiping the sleepies from my eyes after watching a boring episode of Captain Planet, things started to change. The Powerhouse bumper stated that Powerpuff Girls is coming up next, which I wasn't too keen on watching at the time considering I was already sleepy. But after the commercial break, everything was different. I was going to cry from pure excitement once I came to the conclusion that the network has changed before my very eyes. It was beautiful. So I went on to watch the Powerpuff Girls episode anyway just to see all the changes in between commercials. And after the episode finished, I unfortunately passed out. CN City was the next bumper phase for Cartoon Network, and it was quite the remarkable.
Look, D-Dub, I'm gonna stop you right there, D-Dub. CN City was the coolest bumper you could ever find on the channel. It had so much originality, it had so many good ideas. Just seeing all your favorite cartoon characters talking to each other, riffing off each other, seeing the locations, the locales, the different art coming together. Samurai Jack is wearing pink. He's wearing pink, for Christ's sake. Yeah, say goodbye, Nickelodeon. You're over after that shit. Yeah, there was all sorts of cool holiday stuff too. Like the Christmas. You can see the Dexter on Old Man from Dog Show. That was cool. The summer one was cool. I gotta level with you. That song from the summer bumpers is still in my head. The one that's like, whoa! Ah!
CN City stayed on for quite a while, but ended up having different variations of itself along the way. Cartoon Network Yes came around in 2006 with the visuals of a red background and a Cartoon Network character composited from an episode showcasing various quotes.
I like music. I do. I like music that goes like la 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 la.
And everything else was just a highly saturated color scheme to fit. In 2007, they were branding CN City through seasons, with examples being summer, where cool summer colors bursted throughout the city as CeeLo Green plays good vibe tunes. Coming in with the angsty mood of kids just wanting to have fun, with rad designs flustered throughout the network as the Hives play alternative rock.
All is just something that grown-ups invented.
And this is where I'll say we meet the end of the CN City bumpers as a whole, because a whole new wave on how we view the network was coming, and it was provided by this man. In 2008, Nudes takes the network by storm by showing us these bowling pin shaped creatures on a white canvas, absorbing colored blobs to retain an identity of a tune. Of course that description sounds elaborate as hell, but it's better to just look at than explain what it is. Some people may call this the fall of the network. Others may call it the start of their childhood. I simply just call it uninteresting. After viewing so many entertaining bumpers prior to this over the years, I have to say, this was a bit of a step down and a disappointment. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't say that I hate it, it just doesn't hold a chance to the last two juggernauts. There's actually not much to talk about besides the action block, which was basically the same thing but in gold, and don't even get me started on this. They did, however, do a little cheesy rap about their lineup though.
Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this?
Nudes lasted for 2 years, which is surprising because it felt like longer, and in 2010, we were introduced to the bumper arc we're in today. As I'm recording this video, check it, 1.0. The Check It bumpers in general are exactly what you think they are. Generic transition graphics optimized for simpler times. But also changed the channel logo to reflect that. Oh, and internet culture was having this uprising at that time too, so they throw in some nonsensical bits as well. Coming to the 2010s, I noticed that a lot of stylistic things I've come to know and love got more simplistic and modern. Like, there's no fun left in the world, you know? I wouldn't be surprised if Cartoon Network changed their logo to a black and white square in the future at this rate we're going. So basically, the Check It bumpers are here to stay for the time being. From 2010 to 2018, it's been going through 4 variations. Digital artists, however, have been having a field day in incorporating ways to draw the tunes in certain bumpers, and I commend them for that. And cartoon interaction with each other is slim to none at this point, unless you're counting the 20th anniversary bumpers. And what we're presented with is famous quotes from the lineup at the time, with various remixes all throughout. 3.0 was heavily Uncle Grandpa oriented, having him close out the network and open it.
Good morning.
We're currently in the 4.0 as of today, with emojis and what feels like just one color at times now. Characters now acknowledge the network that they're on, which I find kinda cool, and everything else is heavily encouraged for you to try out their app.
The Cartoon Network app is unlocked all this weekend for realsies.
Oh, and whatever happened to Boomerang after 15 years of stagnation, you ask? A complete overhaul, that's what. Seriously, this doesn't even feel like the same channel anymore. Boomerang in 2015 fell victim to the modern age and updated their look to be more hip with the kids, yo. And now it's just a dumping ground for Cartoon Network that airs classic Hanna-Barbera tunes sometimes, with sick remixes of the shows in between to stand out.
What song is this about? It's about.
Why, it's Big Pop Oakley. Joint! Big Pop Oakley. Joint!
And this is where we meet the end of our journey for now. I'm sure there's a lot of bumpers I forgot to mention, like Magoozy, Movies, Friday Nights, and hidden gems like the infamous Johnny Test Johnny Bravo one.
He's got my name.
He's got my name. Johnny Bravo is up next.
But then we will be here all day, and I'm sure you're supposed to be doing something right now, bruh. Okay, that's all the time I've got. I gotta get back to watching Summer Camp Island on my Cartoon Network app. So follow me on Twitter, subscribe for more network bumpers in the future, and check out the latest episode of Chillcast.
Fucking John Cena's in Bumblebee.
He is?
Yeah, he was part of one of the army dudes, but they're trying to take that little girl down.
Why can't he just be in another Fred movie?
It's your boy D-Dub in a Review Life, and this video has been sponsored by China Frederator and partnered with Dusty Cartridge. See ya!